next hymn is a new one. It's What Comfort Can Our Worship Bring, number 623. And those of you that have been around know that I'm a bit of a dork and I pay attention to the words. Being good Mennonites, when you're doing a new hymn, it's hard to pay attention to the words and the notes. We're always going to put our emphasis on the notes. So I want to read these verses to you, and I want you to just not follow me in anything, but just close your eyes and just listen to them for a minute. What comfort can our worship bring on bleak and empty days to those who cannot bear to sing when pain is missed in praise? What sorrow can we dare to own, what anger, loss, and fears, not just in joy as God made known, but also in our tears? O God, hear every longing sigh as voices rise and strain, and meet us in that honest cry where praise is voiced in pain. I'm going to ask Vicki to play this through one time, and then we'll give it away. Last, I invite you to stand. Verse number 644. Another one that we know, I think, pretty well. Healer of our every yoke.
Good morning. Before I get started, Ann Roswell just was saying that, telling me that the Spanish bulletins, the bulletins in Spanish have somehow disappeared or been misplaced. They were probably on the copier, I believe, and so if anyone knows where they are, Ann is in the back, and if you could get them to her or help her find them, that would be great. Also, I invite the children to make their way to the foyer for getting ready for the candle lighting processional. Well, good morning. My name is Jennifer, and I've been attending First Mennonite Church since 2008. To everyone here, either in person or joining us virtually, please know that your presence today is very valuable. If this is your first time with us, we are especially glad you're here, and we look forward to getting to know you a little bit better after the service. I'm also grateful to Darren Knowles for preparing today's meditation using the metaphor of a storm and our varied responses to it. I shared with the worship team this week that my initial response to unexpected chaos and stress is to avoid, run, and hide. I rarely lean in and engage, at least not right away. Maybe you can relate. I sincerely pray our time together this morning is a blessing to each one of us. May you feel seen, connected, calm, and deeply loved in the Spirit of Christ. Let it be so.
It's so good to see everybody. How are you? Good. All right. Let's see who we have with us here today. We have Julia and Micah and Lydia and Ren and Reuben and Jude. Evelyn's up on the stairs, and we have Benjamin and you coming? Yeah, and Juniper. All right. Yes, Benjamin and Juniper. Sorry, I got distracted. Okay. You guys might want to scooch a little bit closer. I have some pictures to show you. Okay, and I see that Benjamin and Juniper brought their My Coins Counts containers today. Were you guys able to get some change in there? Yeah, nice. Why don't you shake it so we can hear it? Ooh, nice. Sounds like you have some good change. We will be collecting change again, so if people want to get their change out to be ready for the kids. Today during Sunday school, we're going to do something. Does anybody know, did your parents tell you what we're going to work on today, by any chance? No? We're going to put together school kits. So we've been raising money, okay, and we've been collecting change to help with projects for MCC. And another thing that MCC does is that they send school kits to kids around the world who need school supplies. Can anybody guess how many? I have to look on my phone. I'm not doing a text. I need the information on my phone. Does anybody know have a guess about how many school kits were sent out last year? Micah, what's your guess? A lot. That's a good guess. What do you think, Lydia? 200. That's a good guess. It's a lot more than that. Anybody else? Reuben, you have a guess? No? Micah? 2,000. 2,000 up. Yep. 3,000. You guys, they sent out 89,369 school kits last year. That's a lot, isn't it? So people all over help put those together. They come from, So not just us at FMC, but people all over the country make these, and then they send them out. They sent them to communities in Canada, that's just to the north of our country, to Ecuador, which is in South America, Haiti, which is in the Caribbean, Jordan, Malawi, South Sudan, Syria, Ukraine, the US, because even here there are kids who don't have school supplies, and Zambia. During our prayer time in Sunday school, we're going to do the map prayer, and we're going to be finding these places on maps and praying for people there, okay? So you'll see where those countries are. So I wanted to show what we did last year. So I have pictures here, and they're also up there. There's our table that was set up with all the school supplies. Okay, do you guys remember helping put these together last year? Yeah. So we had JYF help with the littler kids who needed some help. And there's a lot of school supplies. And here we go. There's Marin and Helena, Sabra, Leo. I think that's Julia and Elliot. They're all helping make the kits. Ella got all the stuff set up for us this morning, so it's all nicely organized. She did it so that it looked really, this is a new describing word, that a new adjective is aesthetic. So it looks really aesthetic down there. So, so there are, look at those beautiful bags. So we've had people from our church make these gorgeous bags for us that we can put the school kits in. You guys see those? All right, let's look at the next picture. There's Ella with Tyler. He was so little that he was only 2. So she was helping him. And there at the end, we had all these bags. I think last year we made about 52 full sets of school kits, which is pretty good to help with that 89,000 that got sent. So there's a little video I'd like you guys to watch. This is about a girl. It's called an unboxing video. You may have seen those on YouTube where people unpack things they bought, but this is a better unboxing video. So she's going to show us what's in her kit and why it's important to her.
This color is my favorite. Even I like it, how it is.
So
This is for mathematics, science, English, social study. I'm going to roll for mathematics, coloring, pencil, pens. These people which are giving us this thing are winning our parents. Like getting these books, pen, pencil, even the colors, to us is the best. Now we are invited many people. If they see us moving with this thing, even they will say, let me go to school. Like the mothers, our mothers, get the money to bring us to school here. But the money of buying it, it will be difficult. Like getting this money is difficult. So they help us with this thing, we use them. Like if they could not be there, we could have not come to school. I put it like this.
it's like her backpack.
This is how I put it. So we are very happy and we are thanking for them. May God bless those people who can give us these books.
So it says, help kids attend school around the world by donating school kits. All right. So she said, God bless these people for helping us with these school supplies. So she's sending blessings to you guys for helping, and to our congregation and everyone who donated. Because without the school supplies, she would not be able to go to school. It's not like here we have some kids in the United States, if you don't have supplies, they will usually get some for you and you can still go to school. But there they don't have any supplies to give people, and then you can't go to school without the supplies. Okay? So it's a really big deal that people are able to get the supplies and be able to go to school. So thank you so much for helping with that. So we're gonna, you guys learned last week about some water projects that MCC was helping with. So we'll collect some more money, and Juniper and Benjamin, you could collect money in your own things if you want, and then we'll go dump it in our container, which is it's on wheels now because I cannot lift that thing up. It's so heavy. You guys have gotten a lot of change in there. All right, come get a cup. Oh, you have sock hands today. It's a good way to stay warm. You're welcome. Thank you. Here you go, Jude. You can go get change in there. Evelyn, you want a cup?
Welcome to the worship of the Lord. Hear the words of Jesus as he calls us today. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. This morning, God encourages us to come in all candor and honesty. Leave no burdens, cares, or pain behind. Bring it all into God's presence as God welcomes us. Love once said to me, "I know a song, would you like to hear it?" And laughter came from every brick in the street and from every pore in the sky. Love. Who is to say what it is? It's like the verb for hope and wait. It has no single meaning. The Inuits have 52 names for snow because it is important to them. There ought to be as many for love. Love is the single magic, the single power, the single salvation. It is the subtlest force, the most powerful, and still the most unknown energy of the world. Not possible to vanquish by any threat, however dire, in any ordeal, however terrible, to which it may be put. Love as a power can go anywhere, can accomplish anything and everything. It isn't sentimental. It doesn't have to be pretty, and it doesn't deny pain. Let us love one another. The lesson is that simple, just to clean our hearts and let love be there without role, without power, without power plays, without a need for revenge. There is no logic in this. It is beyond logic. So do not try to be rational about love. It is like trying to give reasons for the river to flow, for the breeze to be cool and gentle, for the moon to glow, for the sky to be expansive, for the ocean to be vast and deep, or for the flower to be fragrant and beautiful. What would it mean to live in a world whose people were changing each other's despair into hope through unconditional, honest, unfettered love?
invite you to turn to number 640, and voices together, "My shepherd will supply my need."
The scripture reading this morning is from Matthew 14, 22 to 23. Jesus walks on the water. Immediately, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to the other side while he dismissed the crowd. After he had dismissed them, he went up on the mountainside to pray by himself. Later that night, he was there alone, and the boat was already a considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it. Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. "It's a ghost," they said, and cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, if it's you," Peter replied, "tell me to come out to you on the water." "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat, walked on the water, and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "You have little faith," he said. "Why did you doubt?" And when they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those who were on the boat worshiped him, saying, "Truly, you are the Son of God."
Thank you, Jennifer. Last Sunday morning, Ruthie and I got up and drove up to Guanella Pass to see some fall colors and had a very nice hike. So when we came home in the afternoon, Randy called me asking if I had seen the announcement in the email, and I had not. And that was how I learned about Glenn being on leave. And a few minutes after that, I had agreed to preach this morning. So I figure my job this morning is to give voice to the experiences and emotions of this community. I don't want to overpromise what can be accomplished. Answers, solutions, resolutions, those are not going to be accomplished this morning. But we can be here, together, trusting that the Spirit of God, she is here and she is working. Let me just say I know only what was in the email, and I respect the board and the conference must speak in vague generalities. So in my role, trying to give voice to the emotions swirling around us, to name the experience, I'll say for myself, I'm sad, and I don't know where to funnel my grief. I'm mad. I don't know where to place it. I'm confused. I'm fed up. We're a hurting community in a situation saddled with complexity. I would imagine in the pews this morning that we have anxiety, sorrow, fear, anger, confusion, confliction, wanderings, exhaustion. Have I missed anything? Charlie, the words of the song you picked, that honest cry where praise is voiced in pain, sums it up pretty well. Know that whatever your emotion is, whatever your perspective is, you are welcome in this place. So let's do this. Let's take a couple small and cautious steps. In October of 2020, our family took our first trip in the COVID era. We flew up to the Northwest to go to a relative's cabin in the San Juan Islands. We were, of course, nervous about flying. I think we were like double masking at the time. We had a good time, and we were flying back to Denver that October. Unbeknownst to us, one of the wildfires, I want to say it was the East Troublesome Fire, had gone out of control the afternoon that we were flying back. That was up around Fort Collins, and so in our approach into Denver, we were flying basically right over that section. We entered a world ablaze. We descended into dark smoke. And I don't know if it was the smoke from the fire, but there was also this crazy turbulence. The plane just constantly shaking as dark smoke was above us, below us, around us. I was panicked. It was like we were flying into the depths of hell itself. All I wanted was solid ground to stand on and the chance to take a deep cleansing breath. Even since then, I still have anxiety about flying from that incident. Solid ground to stand on and a deep cleansing breath. I think we could all use that. Our text this morning is from Matthew 14, and I'm not trying to be subtle with it. The disciples of Jesus are alone in a storm, terrified. We as a community have entered our own storm. Uncertainty and all the feelings that flood over us. We want feet on our solid ground and a deep cleansing breath. In our story, Jesus puts the disciples in a boat and sends them on their merry way. Now, at this point in the gospel story, the 12 disciples are not a super cohesive group of theological thinkers. For the most part of the 3 years that of Jesus working with this crew, they were a hot mess, to use a theological term. And here they are on a boat alone, and a storm comes. And it says that the wind was against them, or that they are against the wind. Everything is going wrong. It is all falling apart. And the text says that they were struggling, not just for a short time, but this was going on into the night, or some translations are all night. This was a long ordeal. Hours being tossed, being shaken, being scared. And so then at some point, hours in, Jesus, who's off praying, starts walking towards them on the water. Now, they live in a world animated by spirits. And so as they see this figure coming to them, their thought is not, look, Jesus is walking towards us, but rather, who is this walking towards us? Some ghost? Some spirit? And now they're terrified even more. They're like, we're caught in a terrifying storm, and now a poltergeist is approaching. I grew up hearing this story, and it's titled Jesus Walking on the Water. And I have to admit, I get a little frustrated with some of these miracle stories in the Gospels, because Jesus walking on the water is perhaps the least interesting part of this story. The core of what is going on here is not supernatural miracle, but rather natural human emotions. The terror of the disciples, the struggle, their worn downness. And so Jesus calls out to the disciples. And to get a little nerdy with you, Jesus says, in Greek, the word is tharsete. And it's take courage, take heart. Heart, in the context of that it's being used, though, is not exactly the emotional center of a person, which is more of what we think of today when we think of heart. In this context, take heart is more about the foundation and the core of your identity. Take courage. Take heart. Find the center of yourself. Settle into your core and your foundation. Find your courage. So the call of Jesus in the chaos of the storm is to find what is foundational individually and collectively, and to connect with that. The school I work at uses a program that lots of schools use, I think it may be nationwide, called Sources of Strength. It's a program designed to help students work on their mental health by getting them to recognize and invest in those sources of strength. The program lists 8 common sources of strength. I'm going to list them for you. Family support, positive friends, mentors, healthy activities, generosity, spirituality, medical access, and mental health. They're arranged in a wheel, right? And the idea is, at any given time, we may not have access to all 8, but if you can find 2 or 3 to connect with, that provides resilience in tough times. These are ways for students, and I think adults as well, to stay centered, anchored, and to find courage. Students are encouraged to lean into those sources of strength and to help navigate their stormy waters. Perhaps those sources of strength are instructive for us. And again, for reference, I'll name them: family support, positive friends, mentors, healthy activities, generosity, spirituality, medical access, and mental health. And so in a very practical way, when and if you are feeling despondent, anxious, confused, perhaps find a couple of these things to invest in to find your center. For me, this community is a source of strength. And nothing that has happened recently has changed that for me. I listened to Jonathan's sermon from last week. Jonathan, have you considered you might have the gift of prophecy? No? Trust me, you don't want it. So, his words were and are so fitting. As I listened to him share about his deep Mennonite roots, I thought of myself at the other end of the spectrum. As most of you all know, I did not grow up Mennonite. We picked this place 13 years ago. And we didn't pick it because of the pastor, or the worship, or even the music. We picked it because of the community, because of the devotion of this place to loving and caring for those around us, for welcoming those that organized religion too often marginalized. Even as I speak, Ann Rosewall emailed me this week, and she is translating this sermon for our Spanish speakers in the community using some equipment that Ron Olson picked up for us. I am so thankful that we are able to open up this space to be more welcoming in our community. And if I may offer a bit of a hot take, this language justice, bringing perhaps that a little bit closer in our space here, this could be maybe the most important thing that has happened in our community in the past week. But of course, that future is up to us. Solid ground. Deep breaths. So back to our story in Matthew. Peter comes up with the brilliant idea to figure out who is approaching by saying, "Hey, whoever you are, have me come out to walk to you if it's really you, Jesus." And Jesus says, "Come on." And Peter gets out and he starts walking on the water. He's doing it until he notices a little bit of what's going on around him. The storm is still raging. The waves are still high. And he begins to sink. And Jesus reaches out and saves Peter. And Jesus says to Peter, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" Why did you doubt? Why did you doubt? I'm sorry, Jesus, but that is not nothing to get out of the boat. To walk. To take a few steps. Did you not see the storm around? Let's cut Peter some slack. In the middle of the storm, with fear, anxiety, being disoriented, being angry, it is natural to doubt a little. In fact, I question someone who blindly would not doubt. Who would not be experiencing a wide array of emotions? And if I were Peter, I would want to say to Jesus, is it any wonder that my faith looks small? We're scared. We feel alone. There's a lot of scared and anxious people in that boat that are hurting. And we have worked so hard. And at this very moment, we wonder why this is happening if everything was in vain. Jesus says, "Oh, you of little faith," it is okay to have a little faith. There are moments in life when faith feels little, when you're weak and you're beat down. There are circumstances that call us to question the very foundations of our faith, because a little faith is still faith. I want to say to Peter, do not be discouraged by your little faith, because we've all been there, because we're there right now. In the middle of the storm, faith of any size is no small thing. I want to thank God for little faith, because faith is all too often swollen and arrogant and destructive. While that bit of faith may be small, it is the faith that turns its faith to the heavens and is brutally honest. Little faith interrogates God, asking why. I would assume none of us would be here today unless there was just a little bit of faith. So I wish I could tell you we also have a Disney ending, that everything will be wrapped up quickly and neatly. I don't know that. None of us do. The storm will rage a while longer. Our emotions will vacillate, but I hope our commitment to doing justice, loving mercy, and walking humbly will not. We may be feeling decentered and disoriented and discouraged, but we are here together, and that is a start, a flicker, a little bit of faith. Beat on solid ground, deep, cleansing breath. Amen.
Thank you, Darren. I invite you to turn to number 718, Voices Together. Gentle Shepherd, come and lead us.
We have a few announcements this morning I want to draw your attention to. If you'd like to give an offering, there is a QR code. We also have an offering box in the back that you can give online, or you can give cash or check back there. The next couple of weeks for worship, next week, Melissa Roth, who, did we say, was it Palmer Lake? Is that where she's from? Colorado Springs. We'll be giving the reflection next week, and in 2 weeks, Ann will be back up here giving the reflection. Everyone here, you're invited for coffee and fellowship across the hall in the community center when we're done. And those are the only announcements that I have. So I invite you to stand for the benediction this morning. Those of us with big or small faith, let us continue to do the work of God in this community and out in the world. Amen.
Number 610, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. Let this one rip.